Okay, what if everything you've ever been taught about creation is just wrong? Today, we're diving into a theological text with a title that should give you chills, the Liturgy of the Error. And trust me, this isn't about questioning a few beliefs. This is about tearing down the entire temple of what you think you know about creation, sin, and even existence itself.
It kicks off with a line we all know, right? In the beginning. You hear that, and your mind just automatically goes to a place of order, of divine purpose, of intention. It sets a very specific, very comfortable stage.
And then, just like that, it shatters the whole thing. The foundation is just ripped right out from under you. Nope, this is not the story you were told in Sunday school.
So instead of some grand divine word, what do we get? A guffaw. Think about that. A loud, booming, cosmic laugh. The implication here is staggering. Our entire reality wasn't spoken into being with loving care. It was just laughed into existence. Maybe we're all just the punchline to a cosmic joke. And that leads us straight into the first act of this whole liturgy, the divine clumsiness. The central idea here is pretty simple and pretty terrifying. Our universe, it's not a grand design. It's an accident, a fundamental, primordial error.
So, who's the creator in this twisted story? Well, forget everything you know about an all-powerful, all-knowing God. This text gives us a figure named Soklas, the blind artisan. And the story? It's just pathetic, really. He sees his own shadow in the abyss, and in a fit of cosmic vanity, thinks he's looking at God. And he builds everything, based on that one single massive mistake.
The takeaway here is absolutely crucial. Creation was not intentional. It was an accident. The text literally calls our universe a slip of the hand. And you know those beautiful stars we look up at in the night sky? Yeah, those aren't divine lights. According to this, they're just glittering, sharp shards of broken glass from that very first screw-up.
And this is where it gets personal. This is the central chilling hook of the entire narrative, and it's all about your purpose. You see, in this cosmology, you weren't created to be loved. You weren't created to find salvation. No, you were made to be raw material, pigment, to see if your blood could paint a masterpiece on the dust of this broken world.
Okay, so if our entire world was born from a cosmic error, what does that world actually look like? Where are we? That brings us to Act 2, the geography of the inversion. And this is where we get the map of this place, the three distinct and totally competing realms of being.
And here's where everything you thought you knew gets turned completely on its head. Let's talk about heaven. In this reality, it's not paradise. It's a horror show, a gilded cage. It's static, breathless. You're basically a lobotomized puppet stuck in a loop forever. Now, compare that to our world, what they call the living inferno. It's a workshop, yeah, full of rust and bone dust. It's painful, for sure, but here's the kicker. This text argues it's the only place that actually matters. And then there's the third domain, the one that lies outside of it all, the true void. This is absolute nothingness, a silence so deep, so complete, that it's the only thing in existence that can make that mad creator, that fool, finally stop laughing. This is real, final oblivion. But let's circle back to our world, to the workshop, because this is the absolute key to understanding everything. Why is this living inferno so important? Simple. It's the only place where friction exists. And what's friction? It's struggle, it's conflict, it's desire, it's all the things that generate heat. In a cold, dead, accidental cosmos, that friction, that's the only source of warmth. It's the only proof of life.
All right, so if our world is a workshop that runs on friction and struggle, then what are the rules of the game? What's the code of conduct? Well, that's what Act 3 is all about, the mandates of the red judges. And this is where we get a brand new law for a brand new world. And the entire act, the entire moral code, hinges on one incredibly provocative question. Just think about this for a second. What if sin was a sacred duty? And here they are, the new commandments. The 7 deadly sins are totally reframed as the 7 pillars of vitality. I mean, just look at this. Wrath, that's not a flaw, it's the spirit-sharpening blade. Envy, that's not some petty jealousy, it's the hunger that feeds evolution. Lust is the friction that maintains the flesh web. And avarice, it's simply the prayer of more.
Every single thing we call a sin is transformed into an essential tool, a mandate for not just surviving, but thriving in the workshop. So, where does all of this lead? Well, it all builds to a final dramatic proclamation. After laying out this completely new reality, this liturgy doesn't just ask for your belief, it forces a choice on you, a choice between two profoundly different ways to exist.
And here it is, the final choice. On one side, you have the ghost. This is the saint, the one who begs for mercy, who rejects the friction of this world. And what's their reward? They get to fade away, to disappear into the silent void and become just a memory. But then you have the other option, the sinner. This is the one who embraces those red mandates, who sharpens their vice like a weapon. They don't fade, they burn. They don't want to escape. They want to become truly, incandescently alive, right here in the middle of all the chaos.
And so the liturgy leaves us with this final stark proclamation. And you have to understand, it's not a warning, it's not a curse, it's an invitation, a welcome to the beautiful, terrible friction of the only world that actually matters. Welcome to the playground. You are finally alive. So the question this whole thing leaves you with is pretty simple, really. Would you rather fade away in some silent peace, or would you rather burn?